Hello, everybody. Everyone got a chair? There's some up the back. Awesome. Wow. Actually, Liz and I had a chat and we said, not many will turn up for the first one of the year. You've done well. Thank you, everyone. Hand up if everyone's had a really good start to the year. Yeah. Anyone got anything they would like to say? They did fantastic over the break period, apart from Steve being in the... Oh, sorry. I won't announce that.
I did about 10 Santa gigs.
Yeah, Steve was Santa. That was awesome.
I helped Santa.
Anyone else do anything really exciting they want to tell us over the Christmas break? Because I've got nothing. I didn't do anything. No? Jeez, what a boring life. You all sat there over Christmas doing nothing. What'd you do? What'd you do? Yeah. What did you do?
So sorry. And that was the worst entrance ever. Thank you. Well, I've actually got a couple of dogs in the car that I'd like to bring in if it's okay. They're very sweet and well behaved. I just adopted them.
As long as they don't wee everywhere, because we had a dog in during the week to play with Oscar and it just...
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could make them in the car.
You can put them on the balcony if you can time. Anyway.
Don't leave them in the car.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I went to, just after Christmas, I went up to Women's Folk Festival, which was so much fun.
Awesome.
Up in Queensland. So
Woodford. Yeah. Anyone been there? It's like a real hippie kind of thing. It's awesome.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
It's a lot of peaceful people. So
Cool.
great music and everything. Yeah.
Awesome.
Really encourages them to
Well, I'd like to welcome you all. It's another new year. Welcome to Busybird, and my name is Kev, and this is Les, who will be your MC tonight. Toilet is down the stairs. Follow the river of books, and you will find it. I think with the amount of readers we've got tonight, I think we'll have to bring it down to about 4 minutes, if that's okay with everyone, only because we've got about 15 or 16 readers. So I'll just pass it over to Les, and let's have a fun evening. Thank you.
Hey everybody, most of you know I'm Les. I am the project coordinator here at Busybird. Kev is filming this, so if you don't want to be included in the filming, he will be recutting it and putting it on YouTube. So just let him know discreetly that you don't want to be on camera for whatever reason. You don't have to tell us why, really. It'd be interesting if you did, just to sort of justify it. If you can, check in that you're at Busybird, show everyone that you're here. Thank you so much for coming. As Kev said, we talked about how many people would get here today, and we actually thought, it'll be a sparse showing. But it also shows, I think we've been doing this, 12, 13 years. We used to have these conversations with Blaze and just we never got it right. We'd predict quiet nights, they'd be busy. We'd predict the busy nights, they'd be quiet. All right, anyway, I am going to start with, 4 minutes. So 3 minutes 30, you'll get a double ding on the bell. No, so you'll get one ding, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I thought we were changing, it's 2026. We get one ding, and that means you have 30 seconds left. And then at 4 minutes, you get 2 dings. Now, you don't have to stop right there and then. You can finish the sentence, the paragraph, but please don't feel like I got 4 more pages to finish. I'll just keep rushing through it, because at 4 minutes 30, you'll get... At 4 minutes 30, you'll get... Yeah. Now keep going, Natasha. And Natasha's merciless. And she'll ring louder. And she's got Elizabeth there, and Elizabeth's really mean. All right, so, and we'd love to give people as much time as possible, but obviously if we did that, we might be here until 1 or 2 a.m. So I'm going to mix it up. The way you put your names down isn't the way we're going to read it, because otherwise you might get a lot of poetry together or a lot of short stories together or whatever, so I do mix it up. Oh my God, there's a shaggy little dog. So, let us start with Kylie Baker. She has got a poem story, Shani Does Karate. How many books you got out now? 4?
I think, yes.
So they're on that orange bookshelf there on the second shelf. No, you're on the first shelf. There you go. Everyone please welcome Kylie.
I wasn't prepared. Alright, here we go. I wrote this quite some time ago and it's just sort of been sitting there, not doing much. And it's a rhyming storybook for kids, which I hope to be a picture book eventually. Anyway, it's called Shani Does Karate. Shani used to be scared and always shy, not wanting to even hurt a fly, but now Shani does karate. Shani simply used to sit and watch while all the other kids played. All alone, sitting in the corner, was where poor Shani stayed, but now Shani does karate. Kids would often tease him, saying he seemed all kind of wrong. That wasn't until they noticed he was getting super strong because now Shani does karate. Shani wasn't good at sports before. He was rarely picked for teams. Until one day for show and tell, Shani brought in his new karate trophy. And all the kids knew what that means. Shani was getting good at karate. Now Shani never kicked and punched another kid at school. The first lesson of karate is that hurting others is not cool, and now Shani understands karate. In the dojo, Shani heard so much about resilience and respect. He learned to look after others, which led to things he'd never expect. One day, Shani needed his karate. Here's what happened. At school, he saw a big old bully picking on a small and frightened kid. Shani didn't start a fight, but this is what he did. He walked right up to that old bully, a little nervous but feeling strong, looked him square into his eyes and said, "What you are doing is stupid and wrong." Shani didn't raise a fist, but he was ready just in case. Lucky, as that bully threw a whopper punch, aiming right for Shani's face. Now Shani ducked and blocked that punch, but didn't counterattack. Instead, he did a special move, pushing the bully 3 steps back. Once again, he stood and stared straight at the bully's face, told him his behaviour wasn't tough, instead was cowardly and a disgrace. And then that little frightened kid stopped crying and stood upright. He had a friend, a helper now, and he felt sure he'd be all right. When that bully saw them stand together, strong and as a team, he realised his easy target wasn't as easy as it seemed. The bully blurted, "You guys are nerds," and then promptly walked away. The boys replied, "Whatever, we'd rather be nerds than bullies any day." The kid thanked Shani for helping him and asked him why he did. Shani explained that's what he learnt at karate, that it's for defence of oneself and, if required, another kid. And now, Shani has a new friend at karate. I still have time. So my latest publication was The Dragon Within, a book of poems, which I published and released August last year. And still doing things with this. I did enter a poetry contest. I've entered quite a number of them with nothing. But I entered one online called a club called the Dark Poet Society. And I entered a poem. And it's funny because the ones that you were allowed to enter 3 poems, I had 2 good ones. I thought these are really good. And one I just chucked in that I wrote in 10 minutes one day. I thought I'll just send this one in. And the 2 that I thought were really good did nothing, and the one that I just chucked in because I had an extra one got an honourable mention, so that was good. Always the way. I think when you write those ones, and actually the Catherine Purnell Poetry Prize that I got shortlisted for, that poem I wrote when we had to come as a dress-up one day, and I just wrote that poem on the day to read that night, and that one got in and the other 2 didn't, so it's weird. I think when you write quickly like that, it's because you're really in the moment and you're really feeling it, and I think they're the best ones. The downloads when you don't try too hard, when it just comes from here. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I haven't been writing too much. I don't know, maybe it's the start of the year, everyone's been really busy. Anyone else find they only write really well when they're really depressed? I don't know, that's me. This year I'm going to hope to write some, there's some good poems in here, but a lot of them are dark. I I hope this year, 2026, will be a year of finding my way to write happy things. Yay.
Thanks, Kylie. Just with your glasses, please be mindful that there's 3 dogs now just walking around, so please don't sort of leave alcohol where they can access it. Kylie, no one cares about happy things in reading. The reality of every form of storytelling, it's like a fairy tale. And fairy tales always end and they lived happily ever after. No one cares about what happened afterward because it's boring. Everyone wants to know about all the grit and shit they went through to get to that point. So don't make 2026 too happy. You won't have that much material. Bo, so our most senior editor, he is eminently qualified because he wears a hat. And he's going to be reading a short story, Spirit of Giving. I got that right?
Yes.
All right. Everyone, please welcome Bo. Who's doing the time? Oh, they're doing the time there. Cool.
Not today. Hello, everyone. This one is actually a very old one. I wrote this a long time ago. It got published in a zine maybe a decade ago now. So this is just me warming up for the year, basically. When I first discovered I could grant wishes, it was by total chance. I was 9 and a friend of mine wanted a puppy, detailing it down to the breed, beagle, age, 3 months, and temperament, playful but aware that biting is wrong. I got caught up in the idea of a puppy as well and started asking everyone I knew afterwards about beagles. A dog matching the criteria showed up on his doorstep one morning soon after. I didn't know I'd made it happen. I just knew that I'd constantly had the puppy on my mind since he'd mentioned it, so that felt like I could see the dog in my head before my friends saw it in flesh and blood. I didn't start connecting the dots until years later when my girlfriend remarked on how everything she wanted as presents ended up in her lap one way or another. She was annoyed when I pleaded ignorance. I'd always just assumed she told other more proactive friends about the same desires, but apparently not. I think you've already granted me more than 3 wishes, Jeannie, she joked at the time. We broke up a month later. I learned to control the gift a little, picking and choosing wishes to grant from among my friends. A car, a chance with a cute girl or guy, but I realised quickly that I couldn't grant my own wishes. So I couldn't bring a cure for cancer into the world unless someone around me wanted it enough. In the spirit of public service, I started hanging around hospitals in my spare time, finding people lucid enough to talk to me about wanting to be healthy again. I would focus on a patient at a time for days on end, and sometimes they would recover. Sometimes they wouldn't. Maybe they didn't truly believe anything could help them, or maybe I just couldn't make every wish come true. I only kept the hospital visits up for a year or so. Being a genie healer was all well and good, but the hospitals were depressing, and the nurses were becoming hostile. The attempted altruism also managed to get me fired from my office job as I was taking too much time off. My savings ran dry quick, and I probably spent more time wishing for more money to keep myself afloat than I did actually looking for a new job. My flatmate offered to help, and at first I threw it back in his face, adamant that I could work it out for myself. One day I found a stack of cash on my bed. I confronted my flatmate about it, and he claimed to know nothing about it. I recognised the way he said it. I'd granted his wish, and it just so happened to benefit me. It made me think, and I can't believe I'd never thought of it before. After all, hadn't the first wish I'd ever granted been as much a benefit to me as to my 9-year-old friend? I'd wanted that beagle just as much as he did, if not more so. The only reason that well-behaved puppy came into being was that he wanted it. I made my flatmate into an experiment. He wasn't much for high-tech stuff, but I spent weeks talking up the latest home entertainment systems, pointing out what was available and salivating over the benefits. I'd always stop short of suggesting we should buy something. I just wanted him to want it. It took a while, but one day a stack of enormous boxes came to our door. My flatmate gushed about the lark and freaked for a while that he'd somehow gotten stolen goods, but I gave him a story about winning a competition. I only cared about the experiment being a success. I never told him about how I'd made his wish come true. Being able to grant wishes seemed like the sort of thing that should be kept secret for my own safety. I did, however, imply that we should hang out a lot more and be open with each other about what we wanted out of life, big and small. And of course, that we should be honest about wanting each other's desires fulfilled. To my credit, I kept it small, as long as he got what he wanted. And it was mostly a good job, tickets to the big shows in town. I made sure he thought long and hard about what I wanted as well. Money was no longer a problem. Then my flatmate got arrested, and I was dragged into the police station for questioning. It turned out that his bosses couldn't place why I'd been promoted so often at work with no paper trails, suitable work performance reviews. And booking agents started questioning where he was getting all those tickets. I didn't have to be supernatural to give the police what they wanted. I panicked, deciding that my silence would make me an accomplice, and even though I couldn't give hard evidence, I dropped enough hints to conclusively rat him out. At the hearing in the courtroom, he looked at me and said emphatically, "I hope you drop dead." A heartfelt wish like that is hard not to think about. I keep reminding myself that I like being alive, but of course, I can't grant my own wishes.
Thanks, Bo. That got everyone hooked. Really great reading too. Natasha, is that you? So Elizabeth, you're in charge of the timer as Natasha's up here. Natasha is going to read a poem called Voyage. Everyone please, so Natasha's one of our interns, so there's no pressure to clap or anything. It's like I have powers too. Everyone please welcome Natasha again.
This is a poem called Voyage. Fortune lights up the path, the bold stand tall. Each obstacle, blockage, barrier, broken, tumbling, now falls. Glory lies opposite on a winding road, but together inseparable conquers all, independent to the call.
Oh, I feel like I was just up here. Thanks, Natasha. Steve, you have some exciting news, don't you?
Yes.
Do you want to come up here and tell everybody about it? Everyone, please welcome Steve, author, comic, actor, Santa, civil engineer,
Yes.
and on Victoria's Most Wanted this month,
Yes.
aren't you?
Yes.
Please welcome Steve.
Okay. Yes. This year I did Raw Comedy for the third time, and you only get 3 shots. Last 2 was before COVID. This one I thought, I'll give it a go. I'll do something, and I had my heat last Sunday, and this is the bit I did. Okay. I was going through my Facebook feed, and when I do, I sort of have to skip through all the ads I get for weight loss programs for seniors because I'm obese. Then I've got to skip through all the ads I get for super absorbent bamboo underpants because I'm incontinent. Not really incontinent, just anyway. And anyway, while I was doing that, while I was going through those demeaning and degrading ads, I came across a cute video. And the video was of a kitten slapping around a puppy. And then Mama Dog comes along, grabs the kitten and throws it in the pond. I thought it was hilarious. So I shared it with my kids and on the family chat. And then my eldest comes back and says, "Oh, Dad, you know that was AI." I thought, AI? Really? I thought AI was about increasing productivity and improving knowledge. So far, all I've seen it do is come up with videos to fool boomers and decimate opportunities for porn actors. So I got to thinking, what is AI? Well, really, AI is just doing things that computers have done for decades. It's just processing data. It's just they've ramped it up a bit and they've got these huge data centres. And I thought, well, has AI just been created by the tech companies to keep them in business? Because it's not like it hasn't happened before. So back in the day, we had this thing called the Y2K bug. And the Y2K bug was that the IT companies said, oh, anything with a computer chip in it is going to stop working on the 1st of the 1st, 2000. And everyone believed them, and they made a shitload of money doing stuff all. And then it was all bullshit, of course. And they took credit for avoiding a disaster that wasn't going to happen anyway. So AI is a bit like that. Of course, yeah, some of you wouldn't remember the Y2K bug because you were all in nappies back then. But those of us in nappies now, we remember. Okay? So AI has become that new must-have. Every company's got to have it. Your hairdresser's got to have it. Your butcher's got to have it. And I'm thinking, well, we don't really need artificial intelligence. What we really need is real intelligence. And where do you think the biggest untapped reserves of real intelligence is?
Busybird.
No,
It's not government.
within boomers,
Boomers.
right? So I've created my own startup. It's called RI, or Real Intelligence International. And RI will link you up with boomers in retirement villages and nursing homes all around the world. And they will provide real answers to any question you can put to them. So I know what you're thinking, that AI will give me an instant response. Well, firstly, suffering your jocks, you impatient fucks. Secondly, AI will give an answer, but if it doesn't know the answer, it'll make shit up. RI will always give you the right answer. So to prove that, I put the same question into AI and RI, which is currently undergoing beta testing. And that question is something I'm sure that's the top of everyone's minds is ostrich farming viable in Australia? Okay? And so this is the response I got from AI. Ostriches provide multiple commodities, including lead red meat, durable leather, and feathers used for decoration and industrial cleaning. They are a sustainable livestock choice with the potential to supply a niche market among those interested in unique high-end products. It seems pretty sensible and logical, I guess. But here's the RI response. You fucking dickhead. Loads of people lost their shirts investing in ostrich farms in the 1990s. Only a complete idiot would consider ostrich farming in Australia again. It's a worse idea than selling ice to Eskimos. So there you have it. AI is bullshit. And you should all invest in my RI startup. Shares start at $999.99. Hit me up later if you're interested. Thank you very much. And the big news is that as I got through my heat, so I'm now in the semi-finals. Victorian semi-finals for your company.
Well done, Steve. That was great. Coincidentally, I was actually talking to our web guy today, and we're talking about AI. He said, like, in tests of AI, it exposes its stupidity by... I said, they ran a test that my car's broken down, it needs to be looked at, the garage is just around the corner, what's the best way to get there? And AI's response was, well, just walk, which means you're not actually bringing the car with you. So it's just sort of like part of AI's fallibility. No, so when's the next heat?
It's either the 12th or the 14th. Don't know yet.
Of March.
Of March.
Okay, cool. Right. Great. Thank you, Steve. Laurie, haven't seen you here for a while. And I still haven't seen you because I'm still looking for you. There you are. Everyone, please welcome Laurie Smale with a story, Book Discovery.
Thank you, Les and Kevin, for this opportunity. I'm now the proud author of 3 books after many, many, many years of trial and error and never giving up. One of those books is Finding Me, Finding You, about believing in yourself and your own self-worth. The other one is How to Be a Conversational Success, how to talk to people and listen and learn. and the other one is how to take the panic out of public speaking. For years I was scared of that. Now I help other people overcome their fears in that. But my other humble claim to fame is I'm now in the world of social media. I've just turned 80 and I've entered this world. I was part of the analogue world and it took a lot of courage to step into this. And I've now got my own podcast and video called Laurie Smale's Magic Minute. Some of you might have seen it. And I tell little stories to uplift and inspire. And one of them is this. For many years, I used to be very proud of the fact that I'd never read a book in my life. I used to go around saying that to anyone who'd listen, right up into my 20s. How sad. How sad. One day, I was in a friend's lounge room and I saw a book on a coffee table that had a nice colourful cover, a jungle picture, and it was called Hold My Hand, I'm Dying by John Gordon Davis. I picked it up, opened it, and I started to read. I sat down and I kept on reading and reading and reading all afternoon into the night. I kept reading. I travelled with these characters. I travelled through their life, through their trials and tribulations. I travelled how they taught me about awakening to what was around me and took me out of this narrow-minded ignorance. And I started to read books from that moment on. And now I wear another badge of courage, a badge that I can now say I'm widely read. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurie. So what happened to you last year? Just dropped off.
I'm back.
No pressure, no pressure. It's not like I want to, condemn anyone or anything or guilt them, but I do. No, thank you, Laurie. Next up, a poem from Georgina called Chalice and Angel Stories. Sorry. Yep. So Georgina, everyone please welcome Georgina.
Am I close enough? I wasn't last time. Yeah? Okay. Is this okay? This? Oh my goodness. Alright, so there's actually two, but they're short. I timed it. Okay, now I'm nervous. So the first one's called Chalice. Should I tip this blood out, or hold on to the chalice with my very last breath? The sacred chalice, filled with my tainted blood, poured from my open wound heart, poisoned by you. Wish it weren't true. But my last thought before I stood here on this crossroad was of you. You and all your blue. Blue eyes surrounded by red blaze fury. Pointed pupils blaming me for your own wrong. Your lipstick-stained fist from my tear-soaked kiss. As I poured the blood down the drain, I held my breath, forgot the pain. No one's to blame in love's cruel game. No prizes to be won, for we belong to no one. And the next one's Angel Static. 12:34 a.m. I should be asleep, wrapped up warmly in floral sheets, holding my pillow tight and dreaming of you. Blonde curl roux, shining on through the gap between the curtains in the window I can't quite keep shut. Instead, I'm sitting on the front porch, ashing my cigarettes into a seashell from a place I've never been, Hawaii. Watching the traffic lights change from green to amber to red through the thick of the trees. Green, amber, red. Green, amber, red. Your eyes play over in my head like a broken VHS tape. Static flickering, then the ocean blue irises appear in all their angelic cruelty, teasing me because I know with one call I could call them mine again. But I can't give in to your lustful game, because no matter how much I hate myself and the life I have, I don't have it in me to do that one more time. As little regard as I seem to obtain, I deserve more. I deserve to come out of the blue into the brown. This one has hazel eyes, you see, and hair as long as yours, but hands that hold me gently, in a way you never could. So it seems on this tame-aired night that I need to let you go, into the breeze, along with the smoke, and the hope that I once had that there was a future there. I'll leave that here in the air. I'll go back on inside, use the rest of my might to wash away the pain of the past and of the day, crawl into my bed and fall asleep in my floral bed sheets, to awake for a new day and a new beginning. Like really depressing. Last year was great. 5 kilos down and you still don't love me the same. I wish I could go back to the way things were, reignite the flame. I thought that if I changed my face, changed my hair, molded my body, you would start to call my name, but you grew more distant and I don't know who it is I become. I look in the mirror and I see no one. In all my best efforts to win you back, I've managed to make you turn away. Be happy, they say, but when I cry at night, I still call out your name. You, the one that I still cling to. You, my baby blue. You, the air that I breathe, gone in the breeze, leaving me cold. I started to talk to someone new, a man nothing like you. This one's smart and kind and tries to see me as I am. Glasses off, golden tan, his calloused hands that have experienced life and seen death and moved on. But no matter how tight he holds me, I still grasp my gun, because since you broke me, I trust no one. I wish I could love him like he loves me, let him make me laugh like he has 7 times this week. But each day, when the day is done and he lays beside me in bed until the rising sun comes, I still find myself dreaming of you. Brown-eyed fury, soaked in rue, burning on through, piercing my dreams, tainting my day in a saddened grey. I hate you for what you've done, but I don't think I'll ever stop loving you like you were my only one.
Thank you, Georgina. So, anyone have anything happy? Who said?
Mine's a bit happy, but it rhymes too.
Kev, can you escort her out, please? She's ruining the mood. No, but I mean, like most stories, poems, and that are actually about miserable things because we live vicariously through the characters and their journey, and when they triumph, we feel we can get through our shit too. So that's why stories deal with conflict and depression and stuff like that, and sadness and heartbreak. So if you're writing anything happy, Eugenia, you probably need to put like a...
It's got conflict in it
Has it got?
and drama.
Is it about a child?
No, it's about a dog.
Is it an orphan dog?
No,
Is it a three-legged dog?
no, it's an annoying dog.
Has it got epilepsy?
Not yet.
Not yet. So you're going to put that in? Okay. Has the dog been racially vilified?
No, but it does feel threatening. Yeah.
So we're getting places.
Yeah.
We're getting somewhere dark with this dog. All right. Was it abused like when it was young and swatted on the face with a newspaper?
No.
Because like now there's no newspapers. You'd have to hit a dog with an iPad if it was peeing on the. I'm not advocating. I'm just saying that's what would have to happen. So,
There is conflict
okay.
and drama.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
You could probably sue Steve Jobs if he wasn't dead. Okay. Sorry. I totally lost my rhythm there. You threw me off. Thank you. Who was I going with? I was going to go with, I had something in my mind that just totally lost. So, I'm going to pick you, Sue Elson, to come up and read a poem, news and wishing poem. Everyone please welcome Sue.
Thank you, Kev and Les. And I don't know whether any of you have seen...
My name's Sue.
Well, I'm going to give you a vote now because has anybody seen Les's videos on social media? Yes, so please follow Les on social media. Apparently he's putting them out every day, which is quite incredible. So far, yeah. And his beanie.
What's the shout out? Where do I find
Les Zig, or Zig Les, as in it's spelt back to front. Yeah, Zig Les on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. So, yes, even LinkedIn. So I have some news. This week I joined the Society of Women Writers Victoria. So I would like to encourage every woman in the audience to join. It's only $80 a year. And what I love about it is the fact, apart from all the fabulous things they're doing to encourage women to write, is you get a profile page on their website. So anybody who knows me knows that I've been publishing content online since the year 2001, and the other writers' organisations don't give you a profile page on the website. So it's actually really, really helpful to you. And in January, I ran an in-person workshop on online publishing options at the Melbourne City Library, and then I ran it as a webinar, and that's on my website. And what I thought I'd do is I'd just share some little anecdotes of the benefits of publishing online. So I have published 171 poems on my website. And that doesn't include the ones that I do most days of the month during Poetry Month in 2022, 23, 24 and 25. And what I do is I Google myself every day to find out where the poems have been published elsewhere. So they've been republished 178 times, or a little excerpt from my poems have been published elsewhere. Now this includes in books, PhD papers, in websites, on social media. One person did an arts project where she did a heart and she stitched it all and she put my poem on the back of that. Another one was in Chicago and he wrote music to one of my poems. And one of the people who came to the workshops at the Melbourne City Library, she did calligraphy and she chose a piece out of the death poem which I wrote after my mother died, and so it was a really special thing to receive that in calligraphy. So I'm here to encourage you to publish your content online. Tonight is the 17th poem that I've performed live. And I know Les says you should enter awards. Well, I've entered 24 of them and it's led to nothing. So, but this poem is called Wishing. So I must have been channeling Bo because I'm talking about wishing as well. I decided that I would like something better, so I grabbed pen and paper and wrote myself a letter. Dearest universe, I'd like this and that. I wrote in great detail, all matter of fact. It didn't seem unreasonable. I felt it was what I deserved, for I had been working hard and didn't feel heard. Surely if it was in writing, my intentions would be clear, and surely my wishes would be here this year. But as I kept writing, my heart filled with dread. My wishes revealed my manipulated head. Were these wishes really mine, or had they been planted by society's sign? The one that said that you must go this way, for then you'll be happy on a future day. But then I thought, whose choice was I making? Was it actually mine? And what was I forsaking? For if I wished for a future fate, I'd miss the present of what is already great. I'd ignore my blessings and dismiss my achievements. I'd forget the strength from past bereavements. For every loss and disappointment provided growth despite the torment. It tempered my soul and inspired my healing. It gave me the chance to focus on living. For that is the joy of positive and negative. The roller coaster ride delivers a reckoning. To surrender in faith, to truly be humble, to vulnerably release my every fumble. So I tore up the list of random wishes. I'll focus on this moment and roll with the punches. I can still take action, explore and create, and live in harmony. It's never too late. I don't need to wish for anything more than the very next breath and to be true to my core. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Hi, Kate.
Hi, can I do next, please?
I don't know.
What are my little doggies?
Well, everyone, please welcome Kate. You look like you're in a rush. Do you need a stool or anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not even sure I need my actually.
Do we need you?
No, but it depends on what I do when I get up there.
Okay. All right, everyone, please welcome Kate.
Okay,
Okay, so as you guys know, I love to decide at the last minute sometimes when I'm up here. So I've got a choice. I can either do an old song that I've played a few times. I'm going to attempt to do it without looking at my book, so I will mess it up. But, you know, that's what I'm here to do, right? I'm setting a good example for you all. Or I could have a go at a song that, twice has kind of been sung really importantly in my life. And so I'm kind of tempted to do that, right? But I haven't practiced at all, okay? All right, well, it means no ukulele, so no complaining, right? And these little girls, by the way, I haven't actually adopted them. I've just taken them into my care because they were due to go to the pound today. And I only found out last night, so it was a bit of a last-minute decision too. So they're looking for a home, people. Well, they're going to live with me till we find someone. Or we'll send them to my mother, but that's really not the best option. Anyway, here we go. Okay, so the first time I sang this song, that I remember, I probably sang it lots of times, but the first important time was when my grandmother had died. We went up to the top of this hill, Mount Tenerife, which is in Longwood, where the fires were recently. Probably still are, I haven't checked lately. And we decided that we were going to throw her ashes off the cliff into the wind, you know, and my memory of the story is that as we did it, Mum wanted us all to sing Amazing Grace. As we did it, my memory is that as we did it, the wind kind of caught it and it blew back into our mouths, right? I was like, okay, Gran really is alive in me. Mum's memory that came up the other day when I mentioned it, she said, I don't remember it blowing back into our mouths. She said, what I remember is as we tossed her ashes out into the wind, it kind of rose up like an angel or something, you know. And I was like, wow, that's actually a pretty cool version too. Second time that I sang it that really stayed with me was a friend of mine. This is before I had children. She asked me to be at the birth of her first child, and I took the job very seriously, of course, as you do. I was working in a publishing company at the time, Information Australia, and so I came across this book, and it was like a book about all the things that can happen during a birth. And so I read this entire book cover to cover, and it's like, if this happens and they give you this, then this will happen, da-da-da. Long story short, she later said that I saved her from having a cesarean because this book had actually given me enough information that we asked for them to wait and her contractions start again. Anyway, I'm waffling on. So when a little boy was eventually born, it had been a bit traumatic. I took him out, I don't know how long it was after he was born, but not long, out into the hallway, and I sang him Amazing Grace. So I think the lovely thing about this song is that for me it's beginnings and it's endings, and that's true in life, isn't it? Every beginning is also an ending, and every ending is also a beginning. I think that's true when we die as well. I think we go on to another realm. It's probably nicer than this one, so don't be scared, people. Anyway, because I just decided to do it, I listened to it a few times on the way here. I'm going to use up my whole 4 minutes talking. When does the clock start?
It starts when you go up.
Oh, fuck. Okay. I was going to say I listened to different versions of it on the way here, and there's a really beautiful one, Gurmal and Paul Kelly. So I highly recommend everyone just go and listen to different versions of songs. It's great. All right. And the other thing is, can you guys maybe join in with me? Because, you know, I don't really want to have to look at my phone. It'd be nice to sing a song and just sing it and make whatever mistakes I make. And maybe I just stop when I do, and maybe I'll run out before I have time to make a mistake. Anyway, here we go. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that raised a wretch like me. Doing a beautiful job. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see, Lord, I see. Now, I'm going to stop for a bit because I think sometimes people think, oh no, that's a religious song and stuff, but you know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Thank you.
These dogs, they're both girls?
They're both girls, yeah.
Do you aware one of them's a lesbian? One of them was quite trying to bond with the other one a couple of times.
Actually, what they do is they do that when one's misbehaving, the other one will do that. Like if you're trying to put the lead on one and she's faffing about, the other one will appear to hump her just to get
I
us.
did that with my partner and she threatened legal action.
I've observed these girls a bit. They do. They try to be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. So look, we have to go now, but if anyone is interested or knows anyone who's interested,
In dog?
that would be great. We have to leave because I'll be up front. One of them actually did have an accident done that.
So if you're interested in fostering a pair of small dogs or just a small meal for the next day, probably about 30, 45 seconds in the microwave with some garnish.
They actually are like twins, really. They go on the same lead. They walk together really well. They jump in the car in synchrony.
Synchronicity.
If one's kind of misses it, you have to give them a
Well, you know what that means. Kev, there's another we around here somewhere.
I know, it's actually really disappointing because when they're whatever you call her, mother, first asked me could I take them because she was moving overseas. I was like, oh, you know, I don't really want to have another dog, da, da, da. But I thought I'd give it a try because I couldn't stand the idea of two old ladies like that having to go through massive changes and trauma in their time of life.
So their mother, the dog, could speak English.
Pardon?
Their mother, the dog, could speak English.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. That's why I was struggling with words. Actually, like there's a New Zealand Maori term. Is it kaitiki or something like that? I can never remember it, but it
Maori
actually means like protector and carer and guardian rather than owner. I really dislike owner. And I don't really like parent, to be honest, because I don't think that's entirely honest either. Or true, you know, whatever. But we all choose what words we want, don't we? Yeah. Purpose? Anyway, thank you.
All right.
I'm
Thank
sorry
you,
I
Kate.
can't stay.
Ruja. It says here you're writing a story, reading a story. Usually you read a poem.
I know.
So you're going for the story.
This is my very first one in English.
All right, cool. Everyone please welcome Ruja.
I'll only manage to read half because that's 4 minutes, okay? So the other half will be next time. It's called If Only. Tuesday, the 1st of July, 2025. Remembering. On Saturday, February the 22nd, I woke up hot and in pain. My head was a thick fog. I dragged myself in the dark to the kitchen, found some Panadol, swallowed them, and went back to bed. I managed a couple more hours of sleep. I woke up at 8 a.m., my usual time, to get ready for the day. As I got out of the bed, I caught my reflection in the mirror and let out a terrible scream. After that, everything is blurry. When I came to, I checked the mirror again. I had soft, downy feathers sprouting on my eyebrows, armpits, and knees in the most beautiful green color. I inhaled sharply. The air was thick with the rich, nutty aroma of chocolate. I pulled a bottle of dishwashing liquid to my nose, the same smell. I ran the tap and splashed my face. The water also smelled of chocolate and tasted of lollipops. On the third day of the sickness, I found my medical clinic and was given a video appointment with my doctor. Dr. Vichy called me at 11 a.m. After a brief look at my feathers, he frowned. Carlo, you are infected with the new virus that scientists discovered on the 20th of February. It appeared in tourists and staff who attended the Fairy Penguin Parade in Phillip Island on the 13th of February. The new virus originated in penguin chicks so it is called fluffy penguin virus. My mind raced. I hadn't been anywhere near Phillip Island. Everyone infected by the virus shows the same symptoms as you. Feathers, smelling chocolate, tasting lollipops. The good news is that all feathers drop out after 7 days and 8 days from the first symptoms. There is full recovery except. Dr. Vishy's face softened. Except for a total loss of memory of racism and an inability to recover the logic of racism. Carlo, this virus is extremely infectious and you'll need to isolate. Dr. Vishy leaned closer to the camera. It's expected almost everyone in the world will have been infected by as early as July. When the video disconnected, I couldn't move. I looked at my desk to the small fairy penguin plush my friend Jane had brought back for me from her trip to Phillip Island. I grabbed my phone and immediately messaged Jane. Are you sick? Jane, do you know what's going on? No reply. When I moved to Benalla for a job, I was lonely. My family and friends were still all in Melbourne. I worked from home 2 days and 3 days at the office, where I met Jane, who quickly became a friend. She had a lot to say about a lot of things and invited me to come with her to her youth group Light to learn more. Light's beliefs were simple: the superiority and entitlement of white people. Their introduction to me was that our country, our own town of Benalla, had been overrun by migrants of darker skin, different languages, religions, and beliefs. In Light's eyes, outsiders had taken our jobs, our shops, our communities. By the end of that first meeting, I was swayed into their stream with reluctance. Is that the first one or the two? We met every Monday to assess the results of our activities over the weekends and to plan the next. These activities were public demonstrations, chanting slurs, and proudly displaying symbols of hate. We all said we believed in what we were doing, but I never understood why, with so much conviction, we chose to hide our identities behind balaclavas and face masks. For the most part, my time with sickness was easy. We'll have to wait until next. This is a half. And my 11th book that came from Europe with the 3 of my short stories, each about 3,000 words, published.
Thanks, Rouge. I got some bad news for you. I think I'm immune to that virus.
You cannot.
I am.
You are.
I'm kidding. I hate everyone equally. I'm going to call the raffle after this next reader. So you'd have been given a raffle ticket when you came in. These prizes, Kev, they're just the one prize? Yep. So you got the Maltesers chocolate. What are they, French? Or Maltese, potentially. The favourites chocolates and the Nectar de Paris France Brut product, January 2026, a great month for wines apparently. So if you have a raffle ticket, please take it out and I'll call it after the next reader. Marie, where are you? There you are. Marie Lukic is going to read a novel, a chapter from a novel, Fairy Enchantment. Everyone please welcome Marie Lukic.
So I'd like to thank Kev for the cover. He did a good job. Surprisingly, there's a bit of interest in this one. It's not that I've made any sales, but a book club contacted me and said they love the Fairy Enchantment. They have 26 readers who'd like to do it. Now, I haven't read the fine print or found out if they're trying to swindle me, but the usual scam. But towards the end of the 7-year period that I wrote book 1 and book 2, I decided to split the manuscript into the 2 books, and I thought it wasn't long enough, so I wrote a couple of chapters, and they have actually received some critical acclaim from the reading bud, which is good. So I'm going to read you some of the news section. So ancient fairy Verometus and her granddaughter Blue Lantern Fairy Vermeil lead Triton and the dragons and merfolk into the abyss in an attempt to find Triton's missing daughter, Princess Serena Mirashell, which is kind of the subplot. All right. So here we go. This is chapter 20, Abyss Heart. The battalion arrived at the crest of the hill, a short distance from the heart of the abyss. Suddenly, a chill wind struck and snow fell upon their shoulders. Each of the merfolk, unaccustomed to the blizzardous conditions, fell into the moaness a state merfolk fall into when distressed. They moaned uncontrollably until Verometus raised her staff. She poked it at the hole we refer to today as the Resolution Chamber in the centre of the cave. A rumbling occurred. Snow clods smashed onto the floor until the sky appeared through the hole. Clouds scudded above the blue sky until the blue sky emerged. The moaning transformed into a hum of contentment, a murmur of relief as the merfolk laid their sticks on the rocks and relaxed. It is I whom will do magic as we lie in this circle. Vermeil's blue light flooded the entire cave with relaxation as the wind rose. Her youthful face, with rosy cheeks, delicate topaz eyes and pale skin now visible within her blue light. She grew visible, a fine fairy figure. Walking over to the stream, flooding from melting ice, she plunged her own spear into the waters. 14 flipping fish flipped, and flopped onto the rocky floor. Verometus' staff transformed into a spear too. She poked it at the rocks. Gradually puffs of smoke rose until fire flared along a barren stretch of rock. Vermeil flew up and back several times, loading her spear with fish. She dropped them onto the flames with a sudden pushing action of her nimble fingers. Verometus stabbed each fish, turned each over, and cooked it until juices flowed out freely. Miraculously, there were enough fish to feed the entire battalion. The merfolk and Triton, as well as the dragons, feasted until they became drowsy, whereupon they slept, snoring and rolling over restlessly, for the rocks offered little comfort. When they woke, they climbed down into the recesses of the abyss heart, where they discovered a caged woman in rags. Before bespelled, 'tis said she whose name is Agatheka was once a beautiful mermaid. Agatheta turned to Triton, her hair a massive knottiness, her face pale, her white eyes bright and maddened. She squealed the low, piteous sound of heart-rending madness. All right, that's it. Don't quite know how I came up with that.
Thank you, Marie. So you left us with the madness. Okay. So everyone has their raffle ticket out. So if you paid to get in, you should have been given the raffle ticket. Red, A05. All I'm hearing is so close, so close. Lily. And you're a writer, so you should finish this tonight. And that'll be breakfast tomorrow morning. Yeah, all of it. Cool. Thank you. Okay, Michelle, you got some exciting news too. Please welcome Michelle Burke.
How are we all going? Big night tonight, which is one of the biggest crowds I've seen for a long time. But anyway, cool. Some news. As you know, I've got a cardboard Paul. He's got his own movie coming out. He's got his own book. He's got a cardboard cutout. And he's got a song. So all I can say at the moment is the movie is progressing. I can't say anything more than that. But hopefully next month I'll be able to tell you some news. But anyway, that's it. Also, last September, if you were here, I started talking about my uncle Ted, who was Edward Philip Harrington, who was a poet in his own right. He wrote a few books, and at the time, he died in 1966, and his books were no longer available. So I mentioned it then, and then Lee said, oh, let's have a look at copyright and stuff like that, which he did, and I now have copyright of all his books. And after that, September, the book is now here. So before if I got time, I went to a, Cardboard Paul and I went to a U3A talk a couple of weeks ago in Ivanhoe. And I had Cardboard Paul beside me and I did my spiel as I was doing my... It's like going to a movie night in there. I remember in the old days when people used to go travelling and then they'd have their slides and then they'd have their fondue party and everybody would go and sort of sit around and watch the slides and and their rosé or their spumante or whatever it was. So this is the way I think this is, because I have the PowerPoint presentation and I have Cardboard Paul with me. And I had this lady sitting in the front row. And she kept staring at Paul or Cardboard Paul. She kept staring at me. After the talk, she said, every time I look at him, I think he's going to have a conversation with me. And I just pissed myself laughing. I thought it was funny, but anyway. Maybe next month I'll bring him. But that was, so I do my normal Empire State Building joke and everyone laughed in the aisles. But I just want to read a poem. During this process of Uncle's... putting this book together, I had this amazing miracles happen all the way through. I felt like Uncle was sitting beside me. I know he was sitting beside me, but anyway. And I'd just Google him, and then I'd get certain information, and then I'd say, okay, Uncle, what would you like more in this book? What's next? And then I'd Google some more, and then something else would come up, and then something else would come up, and said, and this kept going on, to the point where I've got 140 poems of his, and I had these amazing people give me some information, and I've already sold a few books to them, but anyway, and it's going to be, but he's got a lot of enthusiasts around Australia that follow him. So this was one of the poems. I had to go into the State Library to find some information. And this poem was found in the minutes of the Australian Poetry Lovers Society, which he was a founding member, on the 3rd of June 1966, when offering appreciations of the late Edward Harrington. This was at one of their meetings. The House on the Rise. Tall and supple and khaki clad, he stood on the threshold, a handsome lad. His mother kissed him with tear-wet eyes, and he bade goodbye to the house on the rise. The days passed swiftly, each day the same. Meagre and scant was the news that came, till a grey-haired stranger in sombre guise knocked on the door of the house on the rise. The years rolled on and the house changed hands, but sturdy and strong as of old it stands. Children have chatted and children have played, year by year in the pine trees' shade. Tall and supple and khaki clad, he stands on the threshold, a handsome lad, bidding his loved ones his last goodbye, ere he turns his back on the house on the rise. But the pines will watch and the pines will wait for a step on the path and a hand on the gate, while sunsets redden and daylight dies on that sad homestead, the house on the rise. Thank you.
A whole new generation of readers will look at your uncle's work That's the beautiful beauty of the digital age, that things can last forever. Thank you. Jeff, you've waited patiently. I'm not calling you, I'm just saying you've been waiting patiently. No, come up, Jeff. Everyone please welcome Jeff.
Thank you, Liz. Some of you would probably be aware that each year the Australian Crime Writers Association sponsors a short story award that they call the Louis Award. It has a 500-word limit, and this year's theme was bubble. And this is the story I entered: Forever Blowing Bubbles. Frank possessed a welcome kind of smile. It came out of nowhere, like a cattleman's hut in a snowstorm. He was wearing it now, as the first rays of morning sun cast the lemony hue in his sparsely furnished room. Frank heard the rattle of the lock to the room next door. That'll be easy. My shower next. Got to remember to ask him for a shave. Bubbles is visiting today. Frank and Dick named his granddaughter Bubbles after the song I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles, 'cause she'd once been a fair dinkum dreamer. He pushed himself upright and considered dragging his withered legs across the floor to the shower, but heck, just be patient a few minutes and Izzy would come in and carry him. Bubbles was the apple of Frank's eye, which is why she'd come to him 6 months ago. If only she'd come sooner. She'd come broken, a failed project and trapped in debt, to a gym juicer named Angel, with a deep web porn site specialising in humiliating women. Frank had never heard of the deep web, but he quickly got the gist. Later that same evening, Frank had pushed his wheelchair from Tremonto Aged Care into the light industrial zone on the outskirts of town. It was dark by the time he rolled up the concrete apron of the Adonis gym and through the open factory door. An inflated man behind the desk was punching one-fingered at a laptop. He glanced up. You lost, you silly old fucker. I reckon I'm in the right place. Angel, yeah? You was recommended. That smile. I want to buy some roids. But wait, what can you press with them balloons? Angel coughed a laugh and sneered. $1.50 enough for you, Grandpa? Then he stood and walked to the nearest bench press. Laying on the bench, he gripped the bar. Frank wheeled himself around until he was behind Angel's shaved head. Angel lifted the bar off its rest, eased it onto his chest, and then pushed. As he reached the top of his lift, Frank barked, "Hold for 10, and immediately started counting. 1, pause. 2, pause. 3. By 5, Angel's face was red, teeth gritted. At 7, it happened. The moment Frank was waiting for. In desperation, Angel pushed higher and locked his arms. Without hesitation, Frank lurched forward, smashing his forearms inward into Angel's elbows. They snapped with the sound of a butcher's cleaver splitting a 4-quarter chop, and the bar smashed down across his neck. Frank wheeled himself back to the desk and dialed 000. Police, please. Frank's memories were interrupted by the sound of a key in his lock. The door swung open, revealing a refrigerator-sized man with Israel and Lerderberg prison embroidered on his uniform. Any chance of a shave today, Izzy? Bubbles is coming. Oh, your granddaughter, eh? She good now? She's golden. Now I'm accommodated at Her Majesty's pleasure. Tremonto released my bond, and Bubbles used it to buy a unit in town. And with that, Frank smiled. So that's that. And this is the other thing, to save you asking me again, Les, when are you going to publish that book? So that's right. When will somebody publish it? So that's the Selkie Beach. I was reading from that last year, different chapters. And so about Christmas time they got published. And so that, thank you. It's available on Kindle and paperback from Amazon, and there's details here. Take a card if you would like. And it's amazing. They come, if you order the paperback, it's $20. Comes in about 3 days.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
Shiny Creek, yeah. So when's your book launch? Sorry? You what?
Should I have a book launch?
Yeah, you should have a book launch. There you go, Michelle just told you, yes, of course. So you're having a book launch?
Yes, of course.
Okay. When's your book launch going to be?
When you find time.
Sometime in the future.
So as Busybird's founder Blaise Van Heck used to say, I mean, the book launch is a celebration of all the hard work you've put into the book. And you should have a day which is about you and the work you've put into it, and you should be spoiled. It's like, if you don't give yourself that opportunity, who will? So totally think about a book launch and think about all the people you're going to invite and think about all the people you're going to guilt into buying it and think about what comes next. So when's your next book being published?
In about 4 years, if it's the same time.
No, you're going a lot quicker than that. Yeah, cool. Thank you, Jeff. Julietta, you have a poem. Wow, that's the most unenthusiastic yay I've ever heard. I feel guilty calling you up. It's like I told you your dog died. Juliet, you got a poem that has no title? All right, everyone please welcome Julietta.
Hello. Just 1 second. Good. So just to let you know, everybody, so my first language is Spanish. So when I do my writing, 90% of the time I go to Spanish rather than English. So I always have to go through that exercise of having to translate. And you know, when you translate, some things are a little bit lost. And the rhythm and all those details are a little bit not there. Usually who helps me a little bit is my husband, but this time I got you a very raw version of my translation, so be mindful. And there's a little bit of some, I don't know how to call it, some details related to Venezuela, which is where I'm from, and a little bit connected to what's happening in Venezuela. So just to let you know. Okay, so be mindful of my reading of English. Okay. One night on festivity eve, one night in times of joy, the sky cries so bad that didn't clear up in days. The mountain drowned from such pain, throw to the city the signs of its misery, knock down the hillside, the foundations of its anger. Wake up, demanded Osorio. Wake up to the mortal roar, an eerie omen of the comb of the Piedmont, dragging the mountain out to the sea. One night, one of many, one night after a cold wave, fallen from the hill, gory fall, that swept away thousands of souls in its path, still to this day, wandering souls. People say, survivors of the tragedy, people say that an innocent came down the mountain one day to warn those today mourning about the spell the night saw in those hot lands. Fear stagnates in the mind, it spins, divine punishment or thorough revenge, from that ancestral land, fatally wounded in the face of a city's advance. So it's a little bit of a story. I'm talking about something that really happened in my country in the year 2000 or 1999. Basically what happened is it was raining so hard that there was all this situation and water came down from the mountain and it basically engulfed all the land to the sea. So it was a big tragedy, and it at that particular moment it sat with us like in a very like an omen. It felt like an omen to the political changes that were happening in our country, and many people took it like a really bad, yes, like something was not right. And the thing is, politically what was happening at the time was connected with nature, and the words of at the time was like, there's many issues there, but anyway, it was connected like if we must try against even nature to fight back and put our thoughts. And it's a long story, but I was trying to put together a little bit of those different elements that now also connect with what's happening to my country right now. So many of you probably are already aware. Thank you.
So how'd you find the act of translating from your native language to English? Because I'm Macedonian, so like I know if I have to translate things from Macedonian, it's not the same.
Yeah, it's hard because you give like a metaphoric images
Yeah.
when you speak, especially in poems more than anything. And when you translate them, you really need to know the specificity of the language.
Yeah, you need to know the vernacular.
Otherwise you lose
Yeah.
a lot of the ideas that
Yeah.
you're trying to express. So it translates and you get the idea across, but I can't tell you it's not exactly the same.
Oh yeah, it's the same as Macedonian. There's a saying in Macedonian, "Neliesh lepo," which means you don't eat the bread for this person, which is like a comparison. You're not as good as this person. But if I translate to English, it sounds like the stupidest thing in the world. Yeah. But it's growing up, that's like what we heard often. And that's just sort of language translation. You lose something in the translation.
Yeah, and the cultural thing.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Julietta. Eugenia, you've been waiting very patiently there.
I've just been standing.
Yeah, very patiently. You want to come down? I was going to call you earlier, but Steve says, I don't want to outshine her too much, so put her, after me. Well, after me. Preferably on another day, that's what he suggested, but I said, I can't do that.
Because the sibling rivalry.
Yeah, so Steve and Eugenia are siblings, and your brother came once, but he hasn't come again. Because of the sibling rivalry. He's still alive, right? His name Ananda's thing happening. All right, everyone please welcome Eugenia.
Okay, this is a story about my dog, and it's called Bindi Hears a Noise. There's a lot of onomatopoeia in it, which is very poetic. Tweet, tweet, wobble, tweet. Bindi, the bouncy Jack Russell Cross, heard a noise but didn't know what it was. Her ball lay unprotected in the backyard, so out of the back door she raced. Ball scooped up and safe in her mouth, defiantly her enemy she faced. See, there's the drama there. Gruff to the left she barked, gruff to the right. You won't get my ball with it, she growled without a fight. It's only a bird looking to be fed, Bindi's human said. It might swoop down and peck you instead. Stop all that barking and get back to your bed. Flash, rumble, flash, rumble, flash. Bindi, the brave Jack Russell Cross, heard a noise but didn't know what it was. Her ball lay unprotected in the backyard, so out of the back door she raced. Ball scooped up and safe in her mouth, defiantly her enemy she faced. Gruff to the left, she barked, gruff to the right. You won't get my ball, she growled without a fight. It's only lightning, you silly little dog, Bindi's human said. Come back inside before it strikes you dead. Stop all that barking and get back to your bed. Chopper, chopper, whir, chopper, chopper, whir, chopper, chopper, whir. Bindi, the bold Jack Russell Cross, heard a noise but didn't know what it was. Her ball lay unprotected in the backyard, so out of the back door she raced. Ball scooped up and safe in her mouth, defiantly her enemy she faced. Gruff to the left she barked, gruff to the right. You won't get my ball, she growled without a fight. Bindi, it's a helicopter, Bindi's human said. It's flying way too high above your head. Stop all that barking and get back to your bed. Tweet, tweet, warble, treep, gruff, squawk. Flash, rumble, flash, gruff, boom. Chopper, chopper, whir, gruff, crash. Bindi's human was confused because she heard a cacophony of noise and didn't know what it was. So out of the back door, Bindi's human raced. You can't imagine the scene that she faced. Feathers and lightning bolts, a helicopter squashed flat, piled up in the yard where Bindi's ball had once sat. Ball safe in her mouth, bouncy, brave, bold Bindi bounded off to her bed. You can't say that I didn't warn them, was all that she said. Drama, tragedy. When my Kev, when my book?
Oh, yes, we can.
When you email him. He's got it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so someone's coming out of the blue. I think he's mugging Kylie. I don't want to draw attention to anyone, but oh, it's your son. Steve said it was a mugger. Yeah, it was Steve. Okay, Cammy, you've been waiting very patiently all the way from. That's a really bad timing. Well, I will skip Cammy. I was looking for her, like, where has she gone? Brad, you got some poetry that Cammy's not going to hear, but everyone please welcome Brad. You've got a poem called Until I'm.
Two. I actually have several poems. I was asked to put a title to it. When I was in grade 4, our teachers were teaching us all about haikus, and I've seen a whole bunch of dogs running around today, and it reminded me of the very first poem I ever wrote, which was a haiku, 575, and it goes, my dog does puddles behind the door. Sorry, my dog does puddles. I can't recall it. My dog does puddles behind the door. Anyway, I'll come back to it. Should always write these things down. Yeah. My dog does puddles behind the door. No, I'll get it later. This is titled Until I'm. I want to write like Picasso paints, to perceive what the blind will never see, to speak like Mozart's Requiem Mass, to hear the lyrics of a deaf anarchy, in fields of winter daffodils, by coasts of waves dread, tied to tears of anguish, no one speaks of the burning in the fires of disillusionment, where ugliness no longer contorts. For here is the pleasure of pain that age opens up, cuts and warps, and the changes of love that turn to hate, brandished with a touch of assault, lie in ruins between bed sheets, eradicating the desire to paint, or to write a haiku, love sonnet, elegy or ode, in crayons of blackened etchings that mirror my tortured soul, to drink from the chalice of melancholy, to eat the sacrificial bread, laced with poisonous affirmations that chime until I'm. This is titled Fresh Tracks of Screaming, and I wrote these when I was 20, and I thought I'd just drag them out of the cupboard.
So it's like last year.
Yeah. I live inside the remnants of your shattered dreams. A pile of hope lays in dust, collecting mould. I see your faltered conscience clinging to the walls. All those eyes burn your foolish grin. Your freshly painted mask leaves drips of guilt. The judge and jury have you damned, and I can see fresh tracks of screaming. As you fought against the wind, it took you back to where you've never been. Crack the aged mirrors back. Crack the aged mirrors back, the church of bigotry's eyes, the evangelistic sacrilege in distempered lives, accumulates into dark voids of mindless abstinence, pretense attempts at suicide, the tide of war's defence, obliterates the gods of silence in a mimicry of lives, and so defies the existence alone the preacher cries. I laugh a song of tongues, where all awareness resides, in residue and awful taste that salivates and dies. And I'll finish off with one more, because it's pretty uplifting. We scrounge the earth, the rats infest, the war-torn seasons of our age. Let the reasons, false gods be known, to quench the rage our hearts do wage. If in all sagacious judgment do we dare contemplate the truth, what unholy lies have been told for the devil to retain his youth. Thank you. My dog does puddles on the floor behind the door, slippery when wet.
You know, Brad, when you first were trying to recall the haiku, and you finished with like saying, no, I don't recall, I actually thought you were being meta, and that was part of the haiku. Because no, I don't recall is 5 syllables. Thank you. So how many times have you read? Because you only read a couple of times.
Just the second time.
So second, you read beautifully for just the second time. Imagine how you'll be after, 10 years. I mean, you're only in your 20s now.
I hope to bring the guitar in and sing next time.
Oh, cool.
So I have this little ditty about being naked in the Vatican.
Well, Steve will love that.
Double act. And I was thinking of Steve.
When we think about naked men, we often do.
So the song came about because I actually got lost in the Vatican.
Naked?
Naked. With Michael Angelo.
And you got out alive?
Just.
Okay. You were a boy, were you? Sorry, Steve. Cover your ears. Cammy, all the way from Florida and Tasmania.
Oh, yeah.
Which one's more volatile?
I would prefer to be from everywhere. Just don't assume. I don't want to.
Sorry?
I don't want to be attributed to
Ah, okay.
Neutral space. Neutral space.
All right, here's a Cammy from the universe.
Hello, it's such a joy to be here. Can you all hear me? Okay, I would like to start this poem with a little activity, if everyone's open to it, as a form of gratitude for being here and all the people that made this beautiful establishment of Busybird. I ask that if we all just put our hands on our hearts and close our eyes and take one singular collective deep breath. When you're ready, and exhale. Thank you. Okay, so this is a little story love poem, and I wrote this after going to England, and I was there visiting some very close friends. And yeah, I feel like it's about love. Everything's about love, and I wanted to write this story that kind of captures a bit of love. I visited this place called Hartford, and the moment I arrived on the train station, I felt like, wow, there's something about this place. So this story is a little bit about that. It's called Hartford, a Love Poem. A feeling akin to homecoming bloomed through Gwen. From the train window, Hartford emerged emerald. Her ruminations surfaced. There is love to be found here. Liv's garden housed a sunflower so immense, it challenged the stem it grew from. It's fantastic you're here, Liv gleamed. Paul couldn't believe you flew in. She poured Gwen a cup of tea and guided her to the fire. Across from Gwen, a glint of a smile caught hers. In this moment, mundanity unveiled its resplendence. Gwen, aren't you freezing? English Octobers aren't as balmy as yours, Lynn smiled wryly. Liv and Paul now held a basket of warm garments. Without hesitation, Paul dropped a cap atop Gwen's chilled crown. Is it centered? Paul asked the man across the fire. The man closed one eye and pantomimed a frame. A tad to the right, he advised. Paul ballooned the hat, gathering Gwen's hair into a ridiculous nest. You buffoon! Gwen swatted at Paul. Spot on, Paul continued, dodging Gwen. The advisor ventured over and kneeled to meet Gwen's eyes. "May I?" he asked apologetically. "I'd trust you over Paul any day," she said, amused. "Should I be humbled?" he smirked. Paul feigned offense while blithely continuing his hat distributions. The two laughed heartily. The man smoothed Gwen's hair and settled the cap on her head. Gwen hoped the fire successfully hid her blush. His palm still rested at her temple. "Liv mentioned you're a visiting writer," he suddenly adjusted. "Poet," she modified. "I'm Rowan," he said in an answered prayer. "Gwen," she smiled. "What do you write about, Gwen?" She shared, and Rowan listened. Rowan shared, and Gwen listened. When Johnny Flynn's song, The Detectorist, played, verse by verse the two harmonized. "Will you search the loamy earth for me? Climb through the briar and brambles? I will be your treasure." As the chorus swelled, their voices wove together like the waters of the river. Gwen and Rowan and Liv mused, less an introduction than a reunion. "I'm anticipating a reunion," Paul grinned good-naturedly. And that's the story.
Thanks, Cammy. Paul got a bit of a pasting in that story, though. Yeah, Cammy. Cammy, did you... Yeah, Shelsh. Cammy, did you know a Paul who was like that?
Yes, I did.
So, yeah, someone like really disreputable and untrustworthy. Jeez, imagine being called Paul. Paul, you're the last reader for tonight. And you know I love you, Paul, but Cammy's apparently got this prejudice against Paul. She's a Paulist. Everyone, please welcome Paul.
All right. Bring it home. I've got this one that makes me feel absolutely ill at the idea of reading it. Should I read it or should I just skip it? All right. I might throw up, that's all. If anyone's sort of been affected by the bushfires, they may want to close their ears about now. It's inflammatory. It's called burning. Sometimes I wonder what stops me doing things. Lighting a bushfire, for example. Creating something out of control. The thrill, fear of it. Watching News 24 to see how it burns across the carpet of green. What if my body followed me into a fitful dream? My body isn't smart. It only knows what it feels. If you set your life afire, you could be the moment. Chuck that brick through the window. Punch a policeman. My counsellor told me I won't get out of control because I already would have. I try not to think about it and get on with my little life while unconscious fires burn day and night. Maybe I'll... Well, you seem to handle that. No one's leaving the room. Things that make me cry. I've cried looking in the mirror. I've cried watching Donnie Darko. Hell, I've cried because a flower opens up, then closes itself when it gets dark. I've cried on and on for years. My NA sponsor said, "What's wrong with that?" So I kept on because the sunset was too beautiful. Washing the dishes, tears dripping into the suds. I was special. I saw what they didn't. God wanted me to cry, so I cried. I cried all night by my pet rat's grave. I cried tired tears for an old girlfriend. I loved everything that made me cry. They made me do it. Tears follow one another because I earned them. I deserve them. No one there to know why I went it alone. I was insufferable, impossible to understand. I cry thinking about crying now. Bipolar 2 undiagnosed for decades. Because I feel nothing, I walk at night, wondering if I'll ever see the world through real tears again. I might I might just read these two ones. They're little. This one's called Della. And you were talking about three-legged dogs, and I nearly put up my hand and said something. Della, my favourite three-legged dog, with her pumpkin head and broad smile, jumping on our bed, stopping us from having drunk sex. Beside herself with excitement. Della chewing the kids' toys. Della eating the compost. Bad dog. My favourite three-legged dog running after a ball. It's no waltz. The yard. Debris and Della everywhere. Let's go for a coffee. Take a break. While in the doghouse of the mind, Della lies. Her unformed dreams waiting to be brought to life. I love that dog. The girlfriend, not so much. Things that I do. I sucker punched a duck once. I made love to a lizard. Slept slime from the surface of a lake. I snuffled for truffles. Squatted on my haunches and ate yams. I plucked a rosella from the air and wore it as a fascinator. I gave bits of blue to bowerbirds. Grazed on green. I branded aces onto a kangaroo. He didn't mind. He knew it was just me doing the things that I do.
Thank you, Paul. Paul, you got a couple of collections out also, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Spruiken?
All right.
Rats?
Rats live on no evil star, and how to measure the distance of things. I don't have either of them with me, but I can bring them next time if you want them.
Okay. And when's your next book coming out?
Oh. That's right.
Okay. Get to work on that, Paul. I haven't missed anyone. There was no one who hadn't put their name down. Cool. All right. Thank you. So thank you everyone for coming. The next open mic night is 18th of March. So it's always the third Wednesday of the month. You don't have to leave immediately. Feel free to stop for some drinks and some snacks and have a chat and all that sort of stuff. Just want to acknowledge it was Blaze's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to Blaze. She left us 4 years ago, unfortunately. But this, I remember she spoke to me about like doing an open mic night back in 2013. I thought it's never going to work long term. So here we are, 117, and you know it's working bigger than I think even she would have envisaged. So thank you everyone for attending. So thank you from Kevin and me, and thank you for coming. So see you all next month.